Welcome back to the Save Room. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at the Neca Resident Evil figures. So over a span of just a few years, Neca put out quite a lot of Resident Evil figures. They started with 4, then they did the 10th anniversary figures, which were basically the Resident Evil 1 remake figures. Then they did 5, and sadly they finished with Operation Raccoon City. With each series, we got less and less figures. 4, we got a boatload of figures. The 10th anniversary series, we got quite a few figures as well. 5, we only got 3 figures. In Operation Raccoon City, we just got 1, but I'm okay with that. It totally makes sense why they made so many figures for 4, being one of the most popular video games of all time. But I was surprised with only 3 figures for 5. You know, it wasn't my favorite Resident Evil game, but it was popular, so that kind of surprised me. So for Resident Evil 4, we got the Iron Maiden version of the Regenerator. It is a cool figure, but it's not very fun to hold. These spikes are pretty sharp. Also got the Thermal Vision variant, all the Plagas. Here we have Vertigo. Krauser. Here we have the Garrador. Definitely one of my favorite figures from the Resident Evil 4 line. Next we have Ada. Next we have Leon, the RPD version. I do not have the regular version with the jacket or the one without the jacket. Those 2 figures, along with Dr. Salvador, aka the Chainsaw Ganado, are the only figures I'm missing in this collection. And finally, for Resident Evil 4, we have a whole bunch of Los Illuminados cult members. Cool as it was to have so many different versions of the Los Illuminados members, it also would have been nice to just have other characters. I feel like they might have filled up too many spots in the line with just cultist. You know, like we never even got a Sadler figure. There's so many other characters they could have put in the series. Nevertheless, they're pretty cool. We have the crossbow version. We have a shield version, a scythe version with a alternate parasite head, and definitely my favorite of the bunch, the leader. Next were the 10th anniversary figures. I love these because they were basically just the Resident Evil 1 remake figures. So we have Chris here. Awesome. This is actually the Archives version of Chris, which I'll get to in a second, but it's pretty much the same exact figure. It just has kind of a slightly fresher coat of paint. Here we have Jill. Zombie. And you can detach his limbs. A Crimson Head version of that same zombie. Here we have a lab coat zombie. We also got a couple Cerberus. This one did in fact have a lower jaw. It just came loose and I decided to leave it like that. I think it looks kind of cool. And we also got this version. A hunter. And I love this figure, but I do feel like they went a little overboard on the pink around his mouth. It just kind of looks like he's wearing lipstick. And here is the Tyrant. I really love this figure. I'm just a huge fan of the classic Tyrant. But the one thing I'll say about this figure that I don't like is this massive tumors or whatever on his leg here. Again, they just went too bright with the pink. It kind of looks like somebody just stuck some bubble gum on his leg. And with the anniversary series, they did include 2 figures that weren't in the remake. One of them being Hunk. And you could say that these 2 figures were from Resident Evil 2, but you could also argue that this was a Resident Evil 4 figure, since that was the first game where he appeared with this particular attire. But either way, this is a great figure. And the other figure being the Licker. They also released a Resident Evil Archive series that was basically just a reissue of the 10th anniversary figures, but we did get this Black Jill variant. Next we have the Resident Evil 5 figures, which unfortunately only had 3 figures total in the whole series. It was really a shame because there was just so many different characters that I thought would have been great for this line. It would have been nice to finally have a Wesker figure, aside from the one we got with Palisades. Perhaps even a Reaper figure. I thought those were pretty cool creatures. So here we have Chris Redfield, jacked as hell. Sheva. And finally, the Executioner. And unfortunately, the Neca line of Resident Evil figures ended on a pretty sad note. We got this terrible figure from a terrible game, Vector from Operation Raccoon City. That does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the Moby Dick figures up next. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.